What do you say to a client who historically has struggled with being consistent regardless of what's going on in life, but then asks you something like this? Like someone who's like consistently inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to that client?
Too hyper individual. Like,
Yeah.
it entirely depends on that person's situation. Like I have multiple clients popping into my head. Do they have 3 kids? 2 are very young. It's the holiday season. They're both sick right now. Actually, in fairness, she's not consistently inconsistent. She's usually really consistent, and it's more of a temporary thing. It's too individual to what's going on with that one client.
Yeah. I really think it's so interesting, like, because it really is very individual, and it so depends on the person. My mind keeps pulling me towards David Goggins.
Okay. I wasn't expecting that. I love it though.
I like to look at research, but I also like to look at population data and like just culture and looking at people who've succeeded. When I'm looking at someone who's consistently inconsistent, we know for a fact that someone who's severely overweight, like very, very, very overweight, we know that starting with a rapid fat loss protocol can actually be a really good approach for that person. And often doing something sustainable at the beginning is actually very much unsustainable because they don't see the results. They don't believe they can succeed. Oftentimes starting with something unsustainable that will show them they can succeed is like one of the best things you can do for someone who's just starting out and consistently struggles to be consistent. And there's something about the David Goggins approach specifically for this person that I love. And there's a couple things. Number one is David Goggins never says like you're a worthless piece of shit. He never like talks down to you. He speaks to you like you're the strongest person in the world. Like you are stronger than you think. You can do this. Like and for someone who's consistently struggled to be consistent, they don't think they can do it. And so to have like that type of talk, like what you were saying, like focus on the positive, it's sort of like you're learning to become your own cheerleader. You're learning to become your own like biggest supporter. It's like, no, I can do this. I can do this. And I also think there's something where, at least in the beginning, pushing yourself to do something super, super hard proves that like, oh, well, if I can do something this hard, then something more sustainable is like, that's no problem. You know what I mean? And I don't like the idea of going as extreme as him and like potentially like almost dying in certain scenarios and all of that. But it makes me think there are certain situations, especially with someone who just consistently is inconsistent. You just need to do something fucking hard every day. Sort of like, like we'll say to coaches, like with content, like the coaches who struggle to be consistent with content, like what Gary did with me. He was like, post 3 times a day, every day. I was like, and at first I was posting like a couple times a week. And then I went cold turkey 3 times a day, every day. And I did that for almost a year. And then shit changed forever. And I see that potential with people who just struggle to be consistent at all with health and fitness. And I don't even think something like 75 hard. I think 75 hard might be too much because it's 2 workouts a day. I think it's a little bit like if you miss one day, then you have to start all over again. Like I think that might even be too much, but there's some middle ground here of just fucking do it. Something hard that I've seen many people make positive changes in their life, my brother included. My brother just going cold turkey, losing 150 pounds out of fucking nowhere. Like this isn't this is a taboo conversation to have in much of the science-based world where they're like, no, it has to be slow. It has to be steady. It's like, it doesn't have to be. There are many people who did not do it slow and steady who are absolutely crushing it for the rest of their life. And this is a conversation that needs to be had.
Mm. And the rapid fat loss analogy, if you do something really hard to start, then you've already proved to yourself you can do something really hard. You can definitely do an easier version of that to continue to maintain, because, something really, really hard by definition can't last forever, but it can last for a pretty long time. And then once you've built your self-efficacy through that process and maybe let off the gas a little bit, which could even just mean, like in a simple example, eating more and losing less weight per week and being able to maintain that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
No, I like that a lot. Is that a taboo discussion?
Yeah, among some people, that if some people see this, they'll be very upset. I'm sure there will be a lot of coaches nodding their heads in agreement, like, okay, like, thank you for saying that. But this is a pretty taboo thing among some coaches to suggest you should do it. There are people who can do a little bit more quickly, and you should do some really hard shit.
I mean, have those coaches worked with someone who's 330 pounds and encouraged them to lose half a pound a week and like listen to that person's response, or how many of them, or have they successfully worked with that individual who then, went on to successfully be in a 250 calorie per day deficit for like 4.5 years to get to their goal weight? Like, I doubt it.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I mean, doing hard things, I'm a fan. And especially the way you're directing it, as someone who has tried the sustainable way many, many times and been unsuccessful.